well, I guess I'll start speaking. Yeah, I've only got 200 slides or so it's no, I'm only kidding, about 50 or so. Anyway, I'm kind of getting back to my beginnings in paleo back when I lived in Canada. And what got me interested in vertebrate paleontology was working in collecting fossils from the Champlain Sea. And I actually started at the age of 10 and ended up getting my first paleontology job working for the Canadian Museum of Nature for Dr. Richard Harrington, who's published with Greg. And anyway, it was an amazing experience, and my wife and I are still talking about doing this. This summer when we go back to Canada, where she's actually going to take her hip waders back to Canada with us. So we might be doing a little bit more of this down the road. Did I put the wrong thing?
No, sorry, you got that in there.
What's this one side? Oh, okay, forget it. All right. So, I won't stand up here, I gotta see. Okay, so here you can see Eastern North America. Does this laser point work? Okay. Eastern North America, Great Lakes, of course, you guys know what it looks like. So here you can kind of see blown up. Here's basically the base of the Champlain Sea. Here's the St. Lawrence River and the Ottawa River. You can see Rapid Saint-Joachim, which is the westernmost extent of the lake, northwestern. And then Brockville, which is very close to what's called the Frontenac axis, so where the Canadian Shield cuts down into the Adirondack Mountains. Here you can see the position of where Lake Champlain is with Vermont and New York, and of course Montreal. And I kind of grew up in this area, just north of Montreal, in Laurentian Mountains. So yeah, the area, about just over 20,000 square miles to the Champlain Sea at maximum extent. Around 12,500 years ago, 11,800 was the maximum extent of the Champlain Sea. So the BC before present. Okay, so here you go. Basically the geographic features. So going back to your geography class, the Canadian Shield, which are mostly Precambrian rocks. Here you can kind of see the Hudson Bay lowlands and the Great Lakes region, basin. Here we have on this side, we have the Appalachian Mountains right here. So it kind of forms a barrier on the east and of course the west. And so the St. Lawrence lowlands, where the St. Lawrence Valley is. And here you've got the Adirondack Mountains, like I mentioned, the Frontenac axis cutting across. So if you drive through the region of Kingston, just east of Kingston, you'll see all these beautiful pink rocks, a place called Thousand Islands, a place called Gananoque. It's a beautiful place, and anyway, so it creates a nice barrier for the Champlain Sea. So if you look at the Champlain Sea, it kind of fills in that area. Very rough map. Right, screw around with. Anyway, this is around 17,000 years ago. So basically, how the sea forms. You've got close to 2 kilometers thick of ice in certain locations. Around 17,000 years ago in Wisconsin, in the last advancement of the Warren ice sheet. And so basically it gets its name because it extended as far south as the state of Wisconsin. And basically from the weight of the ice causes something called isostatic depression, where it actually compresses the Earth's crust. And as the ice moves away, it rebounds back up. And it's still occurring today. So here you can see these lines kind of cutting across, kind of showing the change in relief. So around 13,700 years ago, you can see this is Lake Warren, which eventually becomes Lake Iroquois. And here your Finger Lakes region of New York. And we have this thing called the Colville Ridge. So this is kind of tied into the United States. I threw it in here to have a little bit of US content. And you can see as the ice moved forward about 13,000 years ago, here's Lake Iroquois. You've got Lake Algonquin, which eventually forms into Lake Barlow Ojibwe. So great big glacial lakes. And here you have Lake Vermont and Lake Sherbrooke over here. So eventually all these lakes combine together as the ice sheet moves north. And you can see it's getting very close to the depression of the St. Lawrence River. And it formed, anyway, all these lakes combine together to form places like Canadona. Anyway, so basically what happens is the ice moves north of the St. Lawrence River, and because of the isostatic depression, it allows the Atlantic Ocean to flood the St. Lawrence lowlands basin. There are 3 different phases in the lake based on types of bivalves that are found in the Champlain Sea deposits. This shell here is called Hyetala Arctica, and the first phase is the Hyetala Arctica phase. So you've got average summer temperatures between 0 and 5 degrees Celsius, and salinity of the water 23 to 28 parts per million. Basically a subarctic climate changing to a boreal climate. And then we have the Maya Arenaria phase, which is 11,000 to about 9,800 years ago. Basically what's happening to the Hyetala Arctica and all of the other mollusks from that same period of time, they're starting to become dwarfed because of the influx of fresh water from all these glacial lakes flowing into the Champlain Sea. We're also starting to get the isostatic rebound, so the lake is slowly starting to drain. The salinity, you can kind of see that it's more of a boreal environment, and Maya arenaria, which is a marine type of mollusk, is actually more common. We also see dwarfing in mollusks as you move further to the west, so in the Ottawa region, and down here in the Brockville area. We're seeing a lot of dwarfing in the mollusks, including in the Hyetala Arctica phase, because of all the input of fresh water into the Champlain Sea basin. Then we have the Lampsillus lake phase, also like in the Ottawa area, it's called the Proto-Ottawa River phase, and you can actually see the raised beaches when you're driving along the shore of the Ottawa River. You can see these raised platforms, just like you see around Lake Bonneville in the Salt Lake area. So the Lampsillus phase lasted about 9,800 to 6,000, and eventually the sea completely drained. So we're looking at more temperate climates during the Lampsillus phase. As you move further north, basically all in the Laurentian Mountains, when you're looking in the lakes, you can find these Lampsillus shells still today. I've actually caught a few on my fishing hooks when we're up at the fishing camp. You pulled them in by mistake. So the deglaciation, and you can see I got a sloth in here for you. So anyway, we're losing all the megafauna, but what's really interesting about the Champlain Sea so far is there's no extinct taxa known from Champlain Sea deposits. So everything, it makes the fossils a little bit easier to identify because everything is still alive. So basically, where to look for these things? This is a surficial geology map of where I went to high school in Lachute, Quebec. And you can see all what's marked with blue. This actually represents what's called the Leda clay. Hyetala Arctica used to be referred to as Leda back in the 1800s, and the name since changed. And then there's the Saxicava sand, which is represented here by the red and the number 4, the orange. And Saxicava is another name for a shell called Maya arenaria. Sorry. Okay. So here you can see this is the North River right here, and it cuts through. And I've actually collected. You can see the little F's on the topo map as well. They put fossil localities on the maps on a lot of the maps that are produced by the Geological Survey of Canada. So then you also use these maps along with topographic maps, and this is a creek complex called Breckenridge Creek, which is kind of northwest of Ottawa, and we tried to visit this locality back in 2006 during the SVP field trip, and anyway, we weren't able to get in there. It was too muddy. It was raining like crazy that day, and you can actually see some of my localities marked on this map. Very kind of a rough area to work in. There's a young me with my old pickup truck. And some of you might remember seeing this at the museum that we brought from Canada. Basically what you do is go around in the creek bed. So you've got these steep creek, deep cutting creeks into the clay. And all these concretions weather out of the banks. And here you can see my best day I've ever had. I actually collect all of these elongate nodules contain fish fossils. And this day I collected over 150 fish in a single day, basically digging around the gravels in the base of the creek. It's kind of hazardous at times. You can see the hip waders are a necessity, even though often I've gone over. I mean, you have to sit there on the beach and empty your hip waders out. And you can see it's pretty rough going. You've got to climb over deadfalls. A friend of mine from Montreal, also collected from Quebec, who was in the Canadian military, he said, "Your sites are safe with me. You're crazy. I'm never doing this again." You can see we also carry buckets with us. And so you're walking along these creeks miles in, and they're getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So it's a lot of work. Lots of hazards. This guy right here, I actually got a dinosaur guy to come and look at Champlain Sea. And he can confess that it's extremely slippery, and it's not the best time to do it when it's pouring rain. It was pretty bad weather for the SBP field trip. So when these little guys, the black flies, are not eating you, and of course everything, the bug juice is washing off you, the mosquitoes are eating you, and all the time you've got deer flies and horse flies attacking you, leeches attacking you. Every now and then in those deadfalls you'll get attacked by wasps. I was attacked one time and I had over 30 stings. I disturbed the nest. I've run into black bear tracks, and I really don't like these animals, believe it or not. They make great hats. In my opinion, the only good rodent is a dead fossilized rodent. And of course, they build beaver dams, and that basically makes it deep. The sediment starts to build up, and it develops quicksand. I haven't been quite this deep, but I've actually been up to my neck in water, and luckily my buddy was there to pull me out. I lost one hip wader. So pretty scary. Also, when this clay gets saturated, you get landslides further upstream, so they totally cover up your fossil sites. So that really good site that I just showed you is now completely gone thanks to beaver dams. Rivers, a little bit more gentle. Unfortunately, when we went on the 2006 field trip, the water level was really high, but you can see when the water level is low. There are thousands and thousands of secretions on this particular beach in Early, Quebec. And you basically walk the shoreline. It's extremely muddy and slippery. There's my wife, Lynn. And you can see it's really nice when you get full buckets in the river, you just go a little bit deeper and they'll float for you for a while. So it makes it a little bit easier carrying stuff. Now the sand and gravel pits. This is a famous one called Foster's Sand Pit. Upland's airport in South Ottawa is now constructed over that. And when they were building the airport, they discovered 21 whale skeletons of beluga whales that have probably been stranded on the sands, kind of like sandbars. So the whales beaching themselves like you see today, around like Cape Cod, for example. Then there's a great famous locality, becoming famous, St. Nicolas, Quebec, which is just slightly west of Ottawa. And you get these gravel and sand pits, and you can see all these white things. It's not snow. They're all these Hyatella arctica shells and other species. And they started discovering a lot of bone at this one particular site. You can see there's a fish skull bone right here. This is a bird bone sticking out of the bank. And this was actually work by a friend of mine from the Museum of Montreal. They're eventually going to build a museum there. And he's got this incredible collection that he's assembled, including lots of material from the Champlain Sea, Mario Cormoyer. So different kinds, we have oysters, we have all these different types of bivalves. Portlandia arctica, very common, Macoma baltica, an extremely common type. To the east, you get these large skull type shells. And then of course the blue mussels, which are one of my favorite things to eat when I'm out east. Different kinds of bivalves. You can see this big bivalve right here actually has a barnacle attached to the side. So there's actually 3 different species of barnacles known from the Champlain Sea. We also have very rare sponges. Starfishes, this is a brittle star in concretion, and this is a regular starfish. I wish I had taken photographs of some of the ones that my mother was just prepping in the lab, and they're actually spectacular little brittle stars. I just didn't have time. There's also Arctic brachiopods that are found, and this is beautifully preserved. You can't see the detail, but it's a polychaete worm with all the sepate preserved. Also insects. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to take photographs of this beautiful wasp that I found with the wings folded down. Also a fly head, and lots of the insects still have their original color preserved. There's a couple of beetles right here. You also find rare crabs. This is an isopod, so you see those ones from deep in the marine environments. This is a different species from off the shelves. We also have amphipods and things like that, these little shrimp-like critters that you occasionally find preserved with fish fossils. You can see this insect right here, this beetle. You can see the fish vertebrae right there. As far as the fishes go, the most common kind of fish is the Atlantic capelin, Melotus velocis. You can see the male has this large anal fin. And of course, the males, why we find them in such abundance is because the males during spawning, they come up on the beaches. And actually, they're really popular in Newfoundland. They actually dry them and salt them, use them, just eat them like that. Females, though, this was a female capelin. They've got a very small anal fin. I actually found this fish. This was one of the first fish fossils I ever collected. And I collected that when I was 10 years old. If you were in the lab yesterday, you might have seen it. You can also see some of the preservation. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to change these pictures out. This one actually preserves the eye. It's got skin all over the body. You can see gut content. And beautiful preservation. That one was a perfect split. So sometimes you can try and crack these things and they'll break into millions of pieces, or they won't break where the fish is lost. But every now and then you'll tap one open and it'll split beautifully. And here you can see sometimes you can find multiples. So fishes all over the place. The largest concretion ever collected was just about 1.5 feet long, and it had over 50 fish in it, all Melotus. We also have Atlantic cod. This was the first specimen I ever collected on a snowy day in late October, freezing cold water. And this was found in Airlie, Quebec. This is actually the furthest inland an Atlantic cod has ever been found in North America. And you can see there's my boy Burgess when he had long hair, a little bit younger, my mother in the background, out fishing off Prince Edward Island. And there's some yummy Atlantic cod right there. A little bit bigger than this guy. This is quite a small one. That's one thing I noticed about the ones in the Champlain Sea. The fish tend to be a lot smaller, the cod. But as you move further east, the cod become much larger. So they're much smaller as you move to the east. To the west. We also find tom cod. This was a really interesting find. My brother found this half of the concretion, and of course we're walking along the site called Greens Creek, just east of Ottawa, and you're feeling around in the creek beds. And he found this tail, and I knew immediately it was a rare fish. And we were talking about it a month later. We were on our way back through Ottawa, so we decided to stop and do some more creeking, as we call it. And he was talking about it, and he said, I'm kind of in that area now. And sure enough, he found the other half, and the two pieces fit together. So that was a pretty cool find. And this is what the tom cod looks like. This is a specimen that was collected by a fossil collector named Pierre Gonin. He donated it to the National Museum in Ottawa. Here we have the Lake Cisco. This, for the longest time, was the only known specimen of the Lake Cisco, the front half. You can see the scales preserved all over the body. And same with this specimen. This was also collected by Pierre Gonin. So this is the second known Atlantic Cisco. Lake Cisco. We also have Arctic char, beautiful tail. This was collected by Henry Annie back in 1903. Some of the first Champlain Sea collections were done in the 1850s by people like Letty and Dawson. So very historic geologists in Canadian paleo and geology worked at the Red Path Museum and such. So there are trout and relatives like that. Here's a long-nosed sucker. You can see the front of the skull. That's where the supper part goes. This is actually good sized concretion, about this size. And this was collected by a guy named Rick Shields, my sedimentology professor at Brock University. It was his only time stopping there, and he goes and finds a big killer fish like this that's like super hard to do. Then we have the three-spined stickleback. This is kind of maybe the third most common type of fish. They're very small. You can see they've got these plates on the side of the body. See them right here, these little bony plates, and of course the typical three spines coming off the back. And you can see them right here on the back. This one I had in the lab the other day. You often find these little stickleback fishes, these smaller fish, associated with a lot of plant detritus. You see lots of plant material. You can see this one here, all the plant fragments. Now this is a rare fish, and from the identification that I can tell so far, this has never been described in Champlain Sea. Hasn't been published yet, and it looks like the nine-spined stickleback. You can see an example of a nine-spined stickleback. By the way, the scale there is about a centimeter long. And then sculpins. This is the deep water sculpin. And then the rice sculpin. And you can see they're pretty ugly fish. I think they're awesome. They also make really nice pictures. So anyway, Don McAllister, the late Don McAllister, who was the ichthyologist of the Canadian Museum of Nature, did this study in 1987, and he looked at the distribution, the ranges of fish today, and it basically puts the position in terms of what the average latitude at about 53 degrees north. So it would put it in a subarctic climate. So that kind of matches well with the kinds of fossils that we're finding in the Champlain Sea basin. Also whales, there are beluga, harbor porpoise, finback, humpback, and bowhead whales. This is a famous skull, the Pakenham skull. This was discovered by a man in Pakenham, Ontario, while he was digging a well back in the early 1900s, and came across this skeleton, which was stashed in a barn for a very long time. Eventually it was found after he died and donated to the National Museum in Ottawa. This is another specimen. This is one that was collected at the Foster Sampson site where the airport is. Beautiful beluga whale. You can still see the teeth preserved in the jaws. This was on exhibit for a long time at the National Museum. And unfortunately in 2006, when they changed their exhibits, they took away all the Champlain Sea stuff. So stuff that's local to Ottawa, I think that's kind of disappointing. Instead, they put in another exhibit of Green River fossils. So it's disappointing that this stuff is now just all in storage. This is the beluga at the Redpath Museum, and then the one single specimen that was found in Vermont. And this was found in 1909. And the guy that found it gave it a new species name. He knew it was a white whale, but he gave it a new species name. Of course, it's not. It's still the extant beluga whale. A spectacular specimen. This is the whale that was found near Rodden, Quebec, very close to my home, where I used to live in Quebec. And it's a 98% complete specimen. And they discovered it while they were digging an irrigation trench. And it was excavated by the University of Montreal. It was supposed to have been donated to the Museum of Paleontology of Montreal, but it ended up going to a whale museum in Tadoussac, Quebec, which is the mouth of the Saguenay River. It's a popular area for whale tours on the St. Lawrence. And here's an example of a vertebra from the bow whale and humpback. And of course seals, we have harp, ringed, bearded, and harp seals. We also have walrus. Of course, this is, whoa, wrong picture. This was found in the eastern side of the Champlain Sea basin. So just inside the Champlain Sea. This is the only known specimen that's a partial skeleton that was collected by the Museum of Paleontology, discovered by Mario Cormac, a beautiful skull. And then this is the best fossil ever found in the Champlain Sea. I found it back in '87, actually exactly where we were, right in that area again when we were creeping. And it was published by Al Holman in Canadian Journal of Earth Sciences and actually made the cover. And you can see right here, this one's a little bit highlighted. This was off the cover of Natural History. It also made the cover of Canadian Journal of Earth Science. You can see all these little black bits in here. Those are all flying beetle products still preserved in the gut. And the frog's actually laying on its back. It took over 3 months to cut this with acid. It's all still original bone. And it dated to about 11,200 years in age. We also find bird feathers, lots of different kinds of birds. An eider duck from St. Nicholas. This is from the flesh caverns. I'm finding snowy owl. There's also thick-billed murre, Canada goose, ruffed grouse, and swallows that have been found in the St. Nicholas site, which is very productive. And then another spectacular fossil. This is discovered by Annie in 1909. It's the front end of an American marten, of course a boreal type of weasel. You can see that the skull is cracked open, revealing the calcite crystals on the inside. But what's really cool about this specimen, you look right here, that's it looks like cartilage impressions, probably from the trachea or the esophagus. Several specimens, including some of the seal remains that have been found in concretions, even preserved hair and details like that. So you could almost consider this as the Pleistocene water stone. Such amazing preservation in these limestone concretions. Unfortunately, when they prepped this thing for exhibit back in the 1950s, they drilled right through the soft parts, which is not a good thing. And then more recently, in 2014, this is the third metatarsal from the hind foot of a right foot of a brown bear that was found in St. Nicholas. And this was published by Dick Harrington. That's 1 centimeter for scale. So there are brown bear there as well. The only other brown bears that I'm aware of, there's one in Ontario, and another specimen I think was found in Ohio. So anyway, of course brown bears don't occur out east anymore, so it's kind of an interesting find. And then with flesh caverns, to finish it off, on our 2006 field trip, we went into this cave after being soaking wet with rain. So it was kind of a cold experience, but I think everyone had a good time. So this is the natural entrance to the cave, nearest a place called Lake Arvida. This is north of the city of Ottawa. And here you can see back in 1987, we're actually trenching out in the cave with Dick Harrington and Dr. Phil Youngman supervising the excavation. Some of the material that we found: Arctic fox, black bear, red fox, Arctic hare, ungulating. So some of these animals are typical Arctic animals. And of course, a beautiful reconstruction by Mike Levier. He's making me another one of these days. It's at $250. He'll paint another one for me. So you can see the belugas swimming around and all the caitlin down here in front. Anyway, I'd like to thank all these people, especially Mary Cornway, for providing many photos, including this one of my old boss, Dick Harrington, busy at work, and Steve Kula and Michael Ryan, who helped out with the 2006 field trip. And of course, my parents, they really encouraged me, and they drove me all over the place so I could collect Champlain Sea fossils when I was a kid. So appreciate them as well as my wife. All right, thank you.